Well, today we're looking at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce's report on what it termed regulatory infraction amongst the regulatory agencies in Nigeria and how that has been affecting businesses in the country. And I'm being joined by the Director of Research and Advocacy, Lagos State Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Vincent Wani. Good morning, Mr. Wani. Good to have you on the program.
Good morning. Thank you.
Right. Your study talked about regulatory infraction. What are you trying to say here?
Regulatory infraction. The study is just trying to highlight the actions and inactions of regulatory and monitoring agencies in Nigeria that somehow make these businesses, and this time we're looking at businesses within the industrial sector, make them to be operating below their potential or capacity. You know, what they are doing maybe excessively, or what they are not doing up to what they should be doing, that is not actually helping some of these institutions. And LCCI, being a leading advocacy private sector group in the country, feel that, of course, this is the way to help even the regulator, to help the government, so that at the end of the day, the firms operating within this sector should be able to operate up to their capacity and impact on the economy in form of job creation, increased tax revenue for government, and the optimum is to make sure that we have a better peace that will reduce insurgency.
So what actually necessitated, this result? Did you get any report from your members about infractions amongst these regulatory agencies? What's brought about this study, really?
Yeah, we're strong in research, and every quarter, in every 3 months, we do what we call a business environment survey in the chamber. And it's not just the members of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce, the whole country, to see what actually impact on their business, what need to be done, what policies, what regulation, what we need to do. And all the time you see some of these regulatory shortcomings coming up as on the top of the challenges they are passing through. And beyond that, of course, one of the measures is also to look at the type of complaint calls and letters, complaint letters, petition that are coming. They come in their numbers. So at some point, we just feel that dealing with these regulatory issues one by one, in a selective form, is not really helping the economy. It's better we just face it as it is. And one of the things we normally do in the chamber is to support any of our advocacy campaign using a fact-based analysis. It has to be based on fact. And the first thing we did since September last year, we started the survey, is to first of all go to the field and get all of these facts, not just from the business operators themselves, but also from these regulators, to see, at the end of the day, is to provide a robust platform that will bring about change, positive change for the businesses, for the regulators, and for the economy at large.
All right. In your study, you chose NAFDAC and SON as your case study. Yeah. Why? Are they the only major regulatory agencies in Nigeria?
Okay, at this time, I want to first of all point out that this is a pilot study, or the first out of everything we want to do. But why NAFDAC and SON first? Of course, these two agencies, or these two regulatory agencies, are profound. They have a far-reaching regulatory oversight within the Nigerian manufacturing sector. They are not the only regulators in that space, but they have a far-reaching influence in what they do. And of course, in terms of the type of information or feedback we're getting from the field, of course, it tells that we should be able to, we just have to deal with those two agencies first. There are other important agencies that we are looking at immediately. We're through with the research for these two agencies, and we're now in the advocacy and engagement section of that project. But after that, institutions such as customs, such as Nigerian Port Authority, some are not even regulators; they are monitoring or enforcement agencies. We also have to look at how they impact on the businesses. And beyond federal agencies, there are also state regulatory and monitoring agencies that, to a large extent, impact on businesses. We're also looking at that at Lagos State level, the LASMA, LASA, and a whole lot of them were looking at that. And what I want to point out at this point is that it's easier to see or to look at things like infrastructure challenge, infrastructure shortcoming, lack of electricity, bad road, multiple taxation as a major constraint to why businesses are not performing as they should. But we sitting in the middle of businesses know that beyond infrastructure challenges, one of the reasons why these businesses are not doing as much as they should do is a regulatory hangover. And the good news is that we're also working with these regulators to see how we can do things better and make sure that it is a win-win situation for all stakeholders.
All right, so what are your findings? How, does regulatory infractions manifest in these agencies you used as a case study?
Okay, of course, it's all about long bureaucracy, things like overlapping regulatory activities. Everybody wants to be champion or seen as the highest. Like you asked the question, why are we interested in NAFDAC and SON? We find out that not in a whole lot of things, in food, in drug, in chemical, in even a lot of home use things, the regulatory activities or function overlap to a large extent. The same factory visit, the same lab analysis. Of course, somebody is looking at, one of them is looking at standard, the other one is looking at safety or usability. But if you look at it very closely, find out that businesses are suffering. There is no reason why the analysis, lab analysis, or certification done by NAFDAC should not be recognized and accepted by SON. But this doesn't happen. Everybody wants to go to the factory, get the sample, do the test, and come out with result. An implication of that is that management time in these agencies are wasted, because whenever they come, they're not interested in the gate man or the factory officer. They're interested in the managing director or the head of production. The man is bogged down on treating or receiving regulators, not just these two, 10 and hundreds of them coming day in, day out. In fact, sometimes you see two agencies clashing the same time.
How regularly do they do this visit?
This survey shows that depending on what the company do and their size, between 4 to 10 visits every year. And so it can be more, but between 4 to 10 visits every year. And the implication of this visit, like I said before, is that it takes time of the management. Each time they come, somebody is going away with sample, sample to test or for certification or to give out licenses. And most of these samples are large, it's not just a small sample. Some are in cartons, some are in badges. It impacts on the bottom line because of excessive collection of sample. And beyond that, you see, that is why we term it infraction. You are coming to somebody's factory to pay a visit, and the person is the one that will pay for transportation or even convey you all the way from your office. We've been dealing with some of this issue, even with the leadership. They've been making a lot of effort to arrest this issue, especially at the operational level in these institutions. But more need to be done. Issues such as these agencies not even having a national standard for the product they are enforcing the standard remains for some of the products. Excessive charges, arbitrary fees and fines. Sometimes, for no reason, the factory or the shop is even closed down. Or you can imagine the business loss, what the impact on the employees and the impact on the company vis-a-vis the competitors. So these are some of the issues that we are dealing with, or these are some of the issues that this study really thrown up.
Right, from some of your findings, you're saying that most of the regulatory anomalies are actually evident. You pointed out some areas where these regulatory anomalies are more evident, and like high rate of human interface. So, but I'm wondering, are you saying that there shouldn't be an interface? So how would the regulator get to, talk to the client? Or
when we're talking about infraction, the rate at which we're in the technology world, the internet is at the rate at which I meet you, meet me, I demand for things I shouldn't demand, especially when my boss is not around. The leadership of these agencies have done a fantastic job, and it's important to acknowledge that right here. But the challenge is always at the operational level, middle management, last management, as the case may be. For example, registration, product registration for both NAFDAC and even SON requires that you don't need to meet anybody to register a product. Just go to online, download, fill every form, pay what you need to pay in the bank, put the number and send it. Click send. And everything is processed within 2 weeks, as the case may be, or maximum 1 month. But this never happened. The management of these agencies have put those things in place, inform the stakeholders. But you know what happened? After you have printed it and sent, you keep on calling. I've sent it to, you need all these things happen. And what you hear is that, please go back, fill it again, print it out, bring it when you are coming. That is why we say that at the level of management, over the last few years, a lot have been done, but all of these things that have been done in-house is yet to manifest or trickle down to a better business environment within these sectors. So in terms of human interface, the rules and regulation within the system exist and is being strengthened, but it is not yet operational.
Right.